It's time for a speed build, or at least a version of a speed build, and we'll get into what I'm talking about in just a second. Just before we do though, as many of you already know, but for those who don't, I don't want you to miss out before it closes, there are 3 days left officially in my PS5 competition. It's £2 to enter to win a brand new PlayStation 5 console, plus free shipping anywhere in the world on me. So of course click the link below if you are in need of a PS5 for whatever reason. But now let's get into the tune. Now, of course it is for the Chiron, that's pretty self-explanatory. But what I wanted to do with this build is a bit different. See, as many of you know, especially back in the Gran Turismo 6 days, my builds are never really designed to be the quickest in the world. My builds are designed to help people who have no idea how to tune, or at the very least to offer a different approach to just making something the quickest in a straight line. And as a perfect example of this, I used to race a Huayra in Gran Turismo 6, painted in Sahara tan, and I called it the Golden Bullet. And I used to beat way quicker Huayras on the straights. And the reason why I used to win is because of the cornering. I could get that Huayra to do 305, 310 miles an hour in the bottom of the corner with full nitrous, and nobody could slipstream it because it was so low into the corner. So what I've done here is the same thing for the Chiron, the spiritual successor to that build. Now, this one will hold about 470-ish kilometers an hour, or just over, under its own power, which is about, 292, 293, 294 miles an hour, something like that. So there are definitely quicker gear setups, and we'll get to it in a second in terms of what I've done. It's super simple, because as I said, the main crux of the build is the cornering. So for those of you who do want the best top speed possible, why even use my tune? Well, that's the beauty of it. I want this tune to be something that you can combine with tunes that you've got from other people. A Frankenstein build in the best way. So other people have already, I have no doubt, done loads of speed tunes that you can find on YouTube. So find yourself one that you like, then try combining what they've done in terms of, gearbox, aero, blah, 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 with what I've done on especially the suspension and the diff. And I promise you, you will end up with a Chiron that can corner like a Red Bull, because this thing is bonkers. Now, I would recommend racing hards instead of softs. Softs are pretty obvious to go for, but the softs make it, in my opinion, a little bit overly twitchy. Hards are perfect for cornering on this, so go for the softs if you want to try it out. As far as the suspension, of course, the Chiron and the Veyron have active ride height, which can work against you a lot of the time, so we've raised that. 110mm on the back, 120 on the front. Anti-roll is up to 6, 38 on the compression, 44 for the expansion on the dampers, 2.05 on the frequency for the springs, 2 degrees of camber, then toe is out, 0.15 on the front, and in 0.2 on the back, which again, of course, is for stability. And here's the real fun part. You definitely want to have your torque vectoring center diff fitted, of course, from the upgrade shop. Set that to a 50-50 split. Then for the diff itself, which again, as you can see, is the fully customizable LSD, you want 5 all round on the back, and then 30 all round on the front. Then, of course, NOS is down to you. I do have it fitted, set all the way for power rather than endurance. As I said, the transmission is super simple. It's got the fully customized race transmission, and I've literally just put the auto setting to 490 kilometers an hour. That's all I've done. I haven't done any individual gear tuning at all. Like I said, it's not the main purpose of this build, as counterintuitive as that sounds. Of course, we're running, 1,800 horses. If you do have access to, I'm assuming, there is an ultra-high RPM turbo. Again, ridiculous that you have to win that, but if there is one, I'm sure it makes the car even quicker, so go for it if you have it. As far as the ECU, of course, it's fitted, full power, no ballast at all. I do have the additional chin splitter and the side skirts. I haven't touched the rear wing though, so I've got the downforce set to the lowest on the front. The rear doesn't look to affect speed too much. If you look at the angle of the spoiler when it's up, it doesn't really seem to be playing that much of a role. I'm sure it does, but just not as drastic as like a, air brake would be. High RPM turbo, race intercooler, race silencer. I've gone for the carbon brakes, doesn't really matter, you could go for the race ones. Racing pads, and of course the racing clutch and flywheel with stage 4 weight. And again, of course, stage 5 weight will improve acceleration even more, but not that important in terms of if you can't get it. So that's it for the tune. Now let's jump out into Route X, or onto Route X, against another one of these from my garage to show you what it can actually do. So by comparing this one to my very own Chiron, you can kind of see the pace that these can keep up with themselves and how slipstream works in practice. I have not got boost turned on. I do have strong slipstream on though, so that I can show you the kind of potential it has for drafting. You can easily go well over 300 miles an hour with draft, of course you need to. And again, if you already have a tune that can cruise at 305, 310, higher, whatever, go for it, then try combining what they've done with the handling side, as I said, with the especially torque vectoring diff, the fully customized LSD, and the race suspension, then combine whatever they've done in their videos, or even your own, with that, and see what kind of results you get. Because this car is tremendously good through the corner. No traction control, you don't need it, whether you're on controller or a wheel. It is solid, it's planted, it's so easy to drive, and as you'll see in a second here when I drive it around the curve, you can literally pin it at 300 miles an hour with NOS, potentially with drafting as well when you need it, right in the bottom of the corner without even a hint of being able to lose control. And one of the sneaky tactics that I used to use this for was tricking people into thinking that their car was good enough to follow you. So especially in that last corner where you save up your NOS, hit the NOS on the last curve before the finish line, then get right down low in the corner. It doesn't mean you'll necessarily overtake everyone, but it gives you a good chance, and then whoever tries to get down there behind you and slipstream, well, it immediately gives them two strategic problems. Problem number one for most people is they'll just spin out because they can't maintain that kind of speed that low to the corner. The secondary problem though is if they want to overtake you, they then have to go around you instead of undertake, so they have to drive a further distance technically to get past. So I'm not saying it's an unbeatable tune by any means, no tune is unbeatable, but it at least gives you the kind of cornering advantage to combine with the straight line performance that you can get from other tunes, maybe even including your own. So if you do decide to use it, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. I will certainly use a tune like this myself rather than just some, slammed at the back, raised on the front, pure drag machine. So, of course, as I said at the start of the vid, if you haven't had the chance to enter the PS5 competition and you are in need of one, maybe to upgrade from your PS4, maybe you're in a country where you can't get one, maybe you want to get it for a friend, a cousin, a brother, whoever, then of course click the link down below. There are only 3 days remaining, and then of course the winner will be selected. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.